Hey, welcome to the Papa Dennis Show. I am Papa Dennis. I'm Dennis Elliott. Today is Wednesday, October 14th, and it's been a while since I've done this. Haven't been here in a while. Last Wednesday, I did about an hour with Brad and Britt on the Brad and Britt um, stream online broadcast. But I've been busy. I just haven't had the time to do another one. Since then, I really appreciate I wanted to thank Brad and Britt for having me on last Wednesday. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun talking to those guys, and hopefully we'll be able to do that again. But I've just been incredibly busy. Wife and I, Linda and I, went to the mountains on Monday to see if we could see some colorful leaves, and we had a mixed bag there. It was really, when you could see the leaves, it was nice, but there was a lot of fog and a lot of rain. We got on the parkway at Fancy Gap in Virginia and drove down to Grandfather Mountain on the parkway, and there were parts of it that were just beautiful. I mean, the leaves were fantastic. This is a really good year for leaves if you can get some clear weather, and I think the weather's probably pretty nice now. But Monday, it was pretty messy. When we got to the viaduct at Grandfather Mountain, it was just completely fogged in. Could not see anything when we got to there, and that was the point that we really were hoping to run into some clear weather, but we didn't have any luck. But I've been busy, which is why I haven't been on for a while, but wanted to try to make it on today to talk with you about some things, because there's a lot going on. Early voting, for example, early voting in North Carolina begins tomorrow. So if you haven't voted yet, if you haven't done absentee balloting, mail-in voting yet in North Carolina, make plans to get out there and vote. Okay, we'll be talking about that coming up here in just a moment. But first of all, I wanted to show you something here that is really really interesting. Cal Cunningham, unfortunately, has been plagued with a scandal. And for those of you listening on the podcast, I just used air quotes around scandal, and been worried about that with his race against Tom Tillis here in North Carolina for the U.S. Senate. But good news, maybe. It looks like Cal Cunningham is going to weather this. At least, there's at least in this poll here, there's a story here on Politico. North Carolina voters unmoved by the Dem Senate hopeful sex scandal. Democrat Cal Cunningham continues to lead GOP Senator Tom Tillis in the polls, even after revelations that Cunningham had an extramarital affair. Of course, you got to remember, look who the president is right now, okay? What's his name? Donald Trump. Donald Trump has just sort of inoculated us against any sort of scandal whatsoever for a Democratic candidate, because Donald Trump supporters support this guy, support him, no matter what he's done. And there's been a lot. I mean, porn stars, paying off porn stars, cheating on taxes, cheating on his wife. Just it doesn't matter what the guy did. Evangelicals, Christians, conservatives have supported Donald Trump without fail. So what is a little scandal here with Cal Cunningham? Come on. And they're really trying. They're actually trying to say, oh, my goodness, have you seen the scandal with Cal Cunningham? How can anybody support that? And they're doing it with a straight face, too. The hypocrisy is just amazing. I mentioned B.J. Barnes. He actually did a post several days ago about how horrible it is that Cal Cunningham is involved in this scandal. And BJ Barnes supports without without any with a completely straight face. He supports Donald Trump in spite of everything that Trump has done and has admitted to doing. All right, I'm sorry, Trump supporters have no room to comment on anything as far as Cal Cunningham goes. But Democrat Cal Cunningham been under siege for 10 days, facing a barrage of attacks over his extramarital affair. Brutal news coverage across North Carolina. But so far, though, the scandal doesn't seem to have made a dent. One poll out yesterday from Monmouth University showed Cunningham's image has taken a hit, but he's actually, listen to this, in a slightly stronger position in the matchup with GOP Senator Tom Tillis compared to their last survey taken weeks before his troubles became public. A trio of public polls in the past 2 days showed Cunningham ahead by mid-single digits, including a 48% to 44% lead in the Monmouth survey. They corroborate what Democrats have said. Voters are well aware of the issue, but aren't budging from Cunningham. Why should we? Huh? What's the alternative? Think of that. North Carolina, of course, one of the most important Senate races on the map. Spending in this Senate contest in North Carolina already close to $200 million, on track to be the most expensive Senate election in history. Republicans have seized on Cunningham's affair with TV ads bashing him as a hypocrite and unfit for office. How can you support Trump and say something like that? That is bullshit. Okay, he's apologized. He knows he's disappointed his family and friends and supporters, said Wayne Goodwin, chairman of the state Democratic Party. But everyone agrees, and that poll further verifies that the election to the U.S. Senate, in which party has majority, rests not on one individual, but where individuals stand on key issues such as health care. So it's looking good for Cal Cunningham. All right, it's looking pretty good right now, and hopefully it's going to continue. Republicans, however, let's see what Republicans have to say here. They say they're just beginning to litigate the issue. The National Republican Senatorial Committee launched a new ad yesterday calling Cunningham just another political hypocrite. And they do this with a straight face, in spite of everything that Donald Trump has done and is doing. How do they go to sleep at night? Senate Leadership Fund, a super PAC run by allies of Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, also launched a new ad highlighting coverage of Cunningham facing questions from reporters where he did not answer when pressed on whether he had been involved with other women. So they're still going to keep pushing on it. All right. And it's not a sure thing. Don't think that Cal Cunningham is completely out of the woods on this one yet, because it could still come back to bite him in the ass. And we got to be careful about that. The Monmouth survey I talked about earlier matches the results of 2 online polls, also showing Cunningham still outpacing Tillis, but Republicans are still going to keep pushing on this. But it's looking pretty good so far. It's looking like Cal Cunningham may make it through, but it's still early. I want to say early. It's not really early. We've only got 2 or 3 weeks left till the election. But it's looking pretty good right now. So let's just keep up the pressure here and keep going with your support for Cal Cunningham. All right, what else is going on? Democrats dominating early voting in Florida, and Florida, of course, really, really big state for Democrats, but they're warning that the wave of Republican votes is coming on Election Day. What this looks like is that Democrats are voting early. All right, a lot of Democrats voting early. I've seen something like 1.8 million votes already, I think, in Florida, and most of those from Democrats. Democrats are outvoting Republicans, and by a mammoth 384,000 vote margin through yesterday. The unprecedented early voting numbers have electrified Democrats in Florida, but Florida campaign veterans warn that it's too early for the party to celebrate. And I agree. We don't want to, we do not want to let up the pressure there. Big wave of Republicans coming. And frankly, that's a data point that a lot of people tweeting about this fail to realize. Said a guy named Steve Shell is a Democratic operative in Florida who heads the pro-Biden super PAC Unite the Country. Republicans say their data show that they have 400,000 more high propensity voters who have yet to cast ballots when compared to Democrats. So it's looking good in Florida right now, as far as the Democratic votes go, but there's a lot of Republicans still going to be voting in Florida. Okay, so hopefully all that money that Bloomberg is putting into to Florida is going to help there. They said voting in Florida is a marathon. What you're seeing is a bit of a sprint from the Democrats, according to Trump's Florida campaign director. They said Susie Wiles, a Trumper, says we got far more high propensity voters on our side. Could be true. We don't know that. We don't know that that's incorrect. But there's a big wave of Republicans coming, so we got to look out for that. But it's looking good in Florida so far, and here we've got early voting starting less. Well, this says 48 hours, but this article came out yesterday. Early voting starts tomorrow morning. All right. Let's see. The polls will be open weekday hours, 8 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., and on weekends from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So hopefully we're going to see a lot of early voting taking place here in Guilford County and all across North Carolina. Charlie Collicutt, who I've talked to a couple of times and interviewed on this show, he is Guilford County's election director. He said we're going to have a big first day, but if the voters are patient, we'll get through it. You've seen those long lines that they've been experiencing in Georgia and Virginia, other states where early voting has already started. We may see that happen here, but they're hoping that with all of the sites, especially here in Guilford County, we've got 25 different voting sites spread out throughout the county. We've never had this many sites before, and they're hoping this gives voters more options to social distance. So if you're out there voting, be careful, all right? Wear a mask, socially distance, stay away from other people, but get out and vote, all right? Early voting runs from October 15th through the 31st, so it starts tomorrow. As I said, the weekday hours are 8 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., and on weekends from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And it's important to note that on the last early vote day, the hours will be from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. So look online, find yourself an early voting site, and get out there and vote, all right? Another article here, approximately 1,100 ballots, these are mail-in ballots, have been set aside for deficiencies as mail-in voting continues in Guilford County. This article came out on October 12th, so it's probably even more than that. If you're voting by mail, if you're using the absentee ballot, please be careful. You need a witness. Most of the ballots that are being set aside for deficiencies, as I understand it, are due to the lack of a witness signature. The envelope has a place where the witness is supposed to sign. All right. Just look at that envelope. Follow the directions. Be very, very careful. Have somebody look at your ballot before you put it in the envelope to make sure that you've checked everything that's supposed to be checked, that you've voted correctly. Just read everything that's on there, okay? And the problem right now is if you've submitted your ballot and there's a deficiency, the Board of Elections office cannot contact you right now. They've had a court case on this, and they ruled that they can't contact you, which is bullshit in itself right there. They should be able to do that, all right? But of course, it's the Republicans behind this. They want to suppress the vote. Republicans will try everything they possibly can to keep voting down, all right? But if you go to ballot tracks, for example, go to ballottracks.net. It's BALLOTTRAX.net. Go there and register on that website, all right? And if you have submitted a mail-in ballot, then you'll get a notification. It will tell you whether your ballot has been accepted or not. They can't contact you and call you and tell you, but ballottracks.net can give you that information. So look that up, all right? Ballottracks.net. If you're voting by mail in North Carolina, BALLOTTRAX.net. You put in your address, your phone number, your email address, and you will get a notification when you drop off that mail-in ballot at the post office. It will tell you when the post office has received it. They will tell you when the Board of Elections office has received it, and they'll tell you when the Board of Elections office has accepted it. So it's a great service to have. Ballottracks.net, BALLOTTRAX.net. Register on there. All right. So, but just be careful when you're voting. And a lot of people are concerned about absentee voting, mail-in voting. Trump has been trying to scare people, saying, it's going to be a long time before the votes are counted, that, these mail-in ballots are not going to be counted. And to be honest, I was under the impression that in most parts of the country, mail-in ballots were not going to be counted until after Election Day, and that it was going to take a while. But that's not really the case. There is an article in the New York Times that came out on the 13th. And it's how quickly will your absentee vote be counted? And here's a state-by-state timeline. In all of these states right here, the states with the red lines around them right here, these are battleground states. Is the reason they have those red lines. But look right here, all of these states right here, mail-in absentee ballots are pre-processed in Arizona, Georgia, Minnesota, Nevada, Alaska, Colorado, D.C., Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas. MA, is that Maine or Massachusetts? That's Maine, I'm going to say. Montana, Nebraska, New Jersey, New York, South Dakota, Tennessee, Utah, Virginia, and Washington. As soon as they get that ballot in, it's counted. Now, these states right here, the absentee ballots are pre-processed before Election Day. So maybe not right when they received them, but before Election Day, they are going to be counted. And that's a bunch of states here. Florida. Well, you can see there, it's just about every state. On Election Day, there's only 4 states in the entire country that are not going to be counted until Election Day. That's Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Alabama, and Mississippi. Now, Alabama and Mississippi, we don't care about those because those are going to be, well, maybe the Jones Senate race in Alabama will be something we'll look at. But, those are red states. Everybody knows how they're going to go. Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, those are 2 biggies right there that we need to be concerned about. And we're going to probably have to wait a while on the results from those. But just about every other state in the country, I mean, those are the only two, Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. Those are really the only two that really matter. So we're in good shape. We are going to know as soon as the polls close what the mail-in ballots and absentee voting has been. And of course, that includes North Carolina. They are tabulating those mail-in ballots in North Carolina now, and they're not releasing any results until the polls close. But as soon as the polls close, we'll get a notification as far as how it works. So, Wisconsin and Pennsylvania don't begin processing until Election Day. Means it's going to take a while for those. But we're in good shape in this country. We're in good shape as far as being able to know the results of the mail-in and the absentee voting. All right. So don't worry about that. That was something that I was worried about, and I'm sure you were too. But don't worry about it. It's looking good. We're seeing a real surge in COVID-19 cases right now across the country, in spite of the fact that Donald Trump is trying to tell you that it's all over with. More bullshit from the bullshit master, Donald Trump. It's just not true. All right. COVID-19 cases are going up, and it's looking like it's going to be tough between now and the end of the year. Have you gotten your flu shot yet? I got mine a few days ago, and I hope the next shot that I get is going to be the COVID-19 vaccine. I hope that we get a COVID-19 vaccine before the next round of flu shots come out next year. But I got my flu shot last week. Get your flu shot, all right? Get that out of the way so you don't have to worry about that. It's not a cure-all, of course, but it's better than not getting it at all. But we've got a real surge of COVID-19 cases going on right now, and small household gatherings are helping to drive it, according to the CDC chief. Said in the public square, we're seeing a higher degree of vigilance and mitigation steps in many jurisdictions. He said, but what we're seeing as the increasing threat right now is actually acquisition of infection through small household gatherings. Particularly with Thanksgiving coming up, we think it's really important to stress the vigilance of these continued mitigation steps in the household setting. Dr. Jonathan Rainier, professor of medicine at George Washington University, said Wednesday that people should not have indoor Thanksgiving dinners with others who are not part of their immediate household. And an outdoor Thanksgiving is not something that is going to be real feasible around here. Maybe in some parts of the country, you may be able to have an outdoor Thanksgiving gathering. And in that case, maybe you could risk it. But around here, that's probably not going to be a possibility. My family, my brothers and I, we always get together on Thanksgiving at my father's house and get together for Thanksgiving, and we're not doing it this year. We have decided to not have that gathering because it's just too risky. It's my dad is 98 years old, and my brothers and I, we're not young either. And it's just too risky to get together with our families and our kids and everything, and get everybody together. So we're not going to do it this year. We have decided to forego our big Elliott Thanksgiving lunch and dinner, and we're not going to do it. We'll just do something with my immediate family here for Thanksgiving this year because it's just too risky. And I think that's probably what most people should be looking at. Christmas is going to be the same thing, I think. I don't think we're going to be out of this by the time we get to Christmas, in spite of Donald Trump's bullshit assertion that everything's going to be over with on election day, and that we'll miraculously forget about it after the election. It's not going to happen. We're in this for a while, and with the weather cooling off and people gathering more inside, we're seeing a surge in it right now, and it's going to continue through the end of the year, and into the beginning of next year, I think. So it's going to affect. I think Halloween, for example. I am not handing out candy at Halloween this year. I'm not going to be opening the door for a bunch of kids to breathe on me while I hand out candy. And I don't, parents, come on, think about it. Do you really want to subject your kids and yourself to knocking on strangers' doors and standing there while they, hand out candy? You don't know what's going on in their house. It's an unsafe thing. We need to forget about Halloween this year, too. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, it's going to have to change this year. We'll get through it, all right? It's disappointing to people. I know, but, it's this year. Next year, hopefully everything's going to be different. But if not, we'll get through it then, too. But think about it this year, all right? Think about that, Thanksgiving gathering that's involves more than just your immediate family. If it's just your immediate family, it's okay. But other than that, I think you ought to forego it. That's my advice anyway. So that's where we are today on October 14th for the Papa Dennis Show. Looking good with Cal Cunningham. Early voting begins tomorrow. We'll try to have another episode for you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us today, all right? I enjoy talking to you, and enjoy hearing from you. So thanks a lot, and have a good day. If you haven't voted yet, if you haven't done your mail-in, if you've got your mail-in ballot, and it's still not too late to get a mail-in ballot, you can still do that. And if you've already got your mail-in ballot, haven't sent it in, get that done. Just follow the directions. Remember, early voting begins tomorrow. Get out and vote. All right. Hey, thanks for joining us. I'm Dennis Elliott, and this is the Papa Dennis Show.